Sometimes there are moments in history that are so unchangeable that there's just almost no other way to look at it. Sometimes there are events in history where one might wonder how the outcome of a situation would have been had the situation had been handled a little differently. Let's talk about one of the most revolutionary events that occurred in history, the fight between the Allied forces and Axis power of World War II. In the beginning of World War II in 1939, the Allied States, or U.S. forces, requested the aid of two professors from the University of Pennsylvania, John Presper Eckert and his colleague, John Mauchly, computer engineers who were challenged with the task of creating a machine that could perform mathematical computations at a very high rate. These machines were called analytical engines. The goal was to create a machine that could essentially take data and register it faster and more accurately. John Mauchly had the idea of using vacuum tubes for storage on a device called the ENIAC, or ENIAC, which stands for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. The increase in speed was able to give a more accurate computation of firing and bombing logistics. These logistics were able to inform soldiers what artillery was required under a certain set of conditions, and how they were to be used. The ENIAC was able to compute these tables while under the influence of vacuum tubes, resistors, and capacitors. The machine was a widespread 30 feet by 50 feet, weighing over 50 tons, but was able to add up to 5,000 numbers in a single second. Although the ENIAC was never fully made functional until after the war, it was able to accomplish what it was programmed for. Revealed to the public in 1946, the ENIAC became an inspiration and the groundbreaking start of the technological age. With the uprising of technology, computers were just the beginning. In 1942, the World Wide Web was released by Tim Berners-Lee, and the spark of computer technology began. This led to the ENIAC going obsolete, the very computer which ironically was one of the leading foundations for the basis of computer design and evolution. The ENIAC laid down the future generation of computers and technology. But what about the futures that'll never be? What of, alternate histories where all it takes is one slight difference to change the entire outcome? What if instead, during this time period, John Mauchly and John Eckert were persuaded to work for the Axis power, or the German forces, rather than the Allied? So, collaborating with the idea of what would have essentially gone on to become the ENIAC, but working in the opposite forces, working on the other side, really. I imagine that the Axis powers would have developed a computer technology all of their own, like their own principal design based off of what the ENIAC was. Utilized those mathematical computations and tested them in a training field where they could get the full utilization and have their own artillery and bombing logistics for an enhanced advantage against the Allied forces. And then that would basically go on until the Allied forces surrendered, rendering the Axis powers the dominating forces, then giving Germany dictatorship for over the next 50 years. And that would allow Hitler to go on and fulfill his war plan that was documented before all the devastating events occurred all those years. That's my opinion, really. That's what I think would happen if we lost.